we'll just say meal plans and beverage plans that don't, and supplement plans that don't sustain us as we get older. And I just didn't eat a lot of produce. I ate a lot of white rice, which is really sugar, and a lot of animal protein. And I didn't even eat a lot of produce. And so I just adapted completely to produce and live sprouts and learning how to elevate my health through greens, produce, live food. And then third, diminish sugar. Now there are 90 plus bar-coded ingredients disguised as sugar, and 5 of them are sweeteners that are in almost just like hundreds of ingredients and products. And five of these sweeteners are more toxic than a straight shot of 151. Now, most alcohol is 80 proof. So you can imagine you can light fire with this alcohol that's 150. And so when you just start to diminish sugar, now a lot of people like to complicate their meal plans. They want.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Amabala Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Amabala Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
It's Life Well Lived by Amabala Stephen. I'm your host, Amabala Stephen. Life Well Lived by Amabala Stephen is a self-improvement, personal development podcast. So with the occasion of incredible and amazing guests, who are expert and professionals, right, who come to the show to share disruptive mind shift content, right, on any topics on other personal development and self-improvement. Today, I have Steve Q.Wiltshire on the show. Steve Q.Wiltshire has made fitness, health, and mindset a priority for 3 decades. Shortly after winning the Mr. Oregon bodybuilding competition, Steve developed an autoimmune disease which originated from a serious gut complication, which almost ruined his health. Now, through Steve's journey, he has developed a process that has led him to assisting thousands of people now to reclaim their health and power. Now, Steve is also a keynote speaker, an author, and mindset coach, and is the founder of the Temple Health and Wellness. Welcome to Life Well Lived, Steve Q.Wiltshire.
Such an honor to be here. How are you today?
Such an honor to have you on the show, Steve Q.Wiltshire. Now, I'm looking forward to your professional expertise and alongside your personal life story. Now, we want to talk about your area of expertise, talking about health and wellness, talking about gut health. Still, wellness, vitality, and optimum health are your passion. So my passion is, how has the journey been so far?
First of all, I want to say what an incredible job you're doing impacting lives. I love what your podcast is about. I really want to acknowledge the work that you're doing. It is, you know what I've learned about being interviewed about 150 times? So many podcasters really want to make an impact. And I can just tell in the dialogue prior to meeting you and listening to your show, everybody, you are in the right place. You are in the right place. Yeah. So passion, more about my passion, right? From a young age, my mother always said, you really want to make a difference. And she called me a healthy empath. I remember not knowing really what that meant. And I remember asking her over and over again as I got older, what does that mean? And from a young age, I've always just wanted to make an impact. And when I was diagnosed with this, what I call autoimmune condition, because I know we can heal almost anything in our body, especially when it's caught early. We can heal that. And when we tap in and we tune into our bodies, we actually are given a very direct sign from our source, whether you want to call it Jesus, Buddha, God, universe. higher guidance system, inner being, source. It will guide you. And so after I was diagnosed with this autoimmune condition, and it took me 18 months to heal. And I'll tell the story about my partner, who's my actually ex-wife of both my brands, my best friend. She healed herself from 3rd stage cancer, and she had already been on that journey. And I remember when I heard the still small voice say, after I had gone through this process and healed myself, this is what I want you to do. And so it just started a life of its own. And all of you that are listening, you are here for a reason. You have a gift to bestow to the world. And stop looking outside of yourself for that gift. That gift has been given to you. And sometimes through adversity, we find a gift because we get through it. We're open. We're receptive to it. You know, I didn't feel that way the first couple of weeks. I was in a state of shock and sadness and felt fear. But after I went through the journey, I knew that it was my next chapter in life.
Great. Now, Steve, is there really a wellness and fitness practice that works? That's a very important question I'd like you to answer. Now, I would like you to tell me more about the Hypocrites Health Institute in Southern Florida. What was your experience like?
Yeah. So when I think about health, I always kind of think about a conversation that I would have with someone. And the many conversations I've had with somebody, but somebody that I would meet for the first time. And I often think about all the traveling I've done and sitting by people getting ready to board, and they're asking me questions and I'm asking them questions, or sitting by somebody in an airplane. And I know that if I were sitting next to any of you and you said, what can I do to elevate my health? My answer would be sweat every day, detox every day. It will change your life. And we sweat externally, we sweat internally, and we sweat both. Internally means you make it happen through cardio machine or running, right? You activate the sweat. Externally means you get into a sauna, right? Or you can even detox and sweat in like what I call a supercharger bath with magnesium. It might not feel that way, but you are. You can tell in your forehead, you're just sweating. And then both would be something like hot yoga, or my favorite, Bikram yoga. And so sweat. Second, produce. Go green. Go green. It has changed my life. And I find it ironic in my, early journey of, I wasn't like, I got sick because I wasn't unhealthy. I just was led down the wrong path that couldn't sustain me. I was, kind of in this bodybuilding arena. And we'll talk more about that story. It wasn't like I chose it. I was just kind of referred to a gym, and then I started to work out, and then went down these, really difficult, we'll just say, meal plans and beverage plans and supplement plans that don't sustain us as we get older. And I just didn't eat a lot of produce. I ate a lot of white rice, which is really sugar, and a lot of animal protein. And I didn't even eat a lot of produce. And so I just adapted completely to produce and live sprouts, and learning how to elevate my health through greens, produce, live food. And then third, diminish sugar. Now there are 90 plus bar-coded ingredients disguised as sugar, and 5 of them are sweeteners that are in almost just like hundreds of ingredients and products. And five of these sweeteners are more toxic than a straight shot of 151. Now, most alcohol is 80 proof. So you can imagine you can light fire with this alcohol that's 150. And so when you just start to diminish sugar, now a lot of people like to complicate their meal plans. They want a lot of variety, and they don't know what they don't know. And what I will tell you is that when you simplify the process, there's so much that you can make and create. that will not only heal your body through food, but also help you live a long, healthy life. So the Hippocrates Clinic was actually introduced to my I call her Lynn, okay, my ex-wife, who's my business partner, both my brands, because she was diagnosed with 3rd stage cancer. And after she was diagnosed, she wasn't surprised because her sister died at 21. Lynn was 12. Her mother's side of the family, almost everybody had cancer. And she almost realized she expected it. It was like ingrained in her mind through experiences of all her family. It was in her genes. And so she wanted to go down this path of healing herself from 3rd stage cancer. And so she searched and she found the Hippocrates Health Institute in Southern Florida and started to adapt those principles. Ironically, before I got, or I'll say contracted autoimmune, hear my words, condition, I was so stuck on her decision because we had a 12-year-old son and my mom had a full hysterectomy, or excuse me, a full vasectomy. And so in my mind, I was kind of judging it. I never told her that. But for 2 years, I kept thinking, what if she dies? What if she dies? So I wasn't paying a close attention to what she was doing. So after I developed the autoimmune, I ended up, I didn't know what was happening to me. One day, all of a sudden, my gut just completely quit. And that's what happens. I had immense bloating, digestive issues, elimination issues. I immediately contacted my doctor. My blood work, my panels came back fine. They looked excellent. And I thought, what the heck's the matter with me? There's something wrong with me. And that's when I was led to naturopaths that are really healers, that understand functional medicine, and then Lynn's protocol. And I want all of you to hear that, the American, what they call diet, even combining food and what we've been taught really comes from a lot of mindset around being entertained, manipulation, food that just tastes good, but isn't always conducive to ideal health. And this is what I love about the podcast movement. So many podcasters are revealing like all these concepts that were just not a reality for very few people, maybe 3% of the population 10 years ago.
Sure.
It's just training your brain how to think different, learning new concepts, right?
Right.
You have the most amazing smile. You have joy written all over your face, my friend.
Thank you, Steve. Right. Now, when it comes to gut health, I know that you've had a fair share of its complications, and I'm really glad to know that you healed, right? So I need you to tell me, right, some of the signs of gut balance issue and LD hack that works. I know it has worked for you. I'd like you to share more insights with my.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. Can I first? I want to talk about how I got on this journey, because what's really important is to be the creator of your own reality. And I've always hired experts in business. And so I want to begin by just saying, I was raised with athletic brothers, and my dad was an athlete, almost semi-pro, and I wasn't that kid. And I felt less than. And so I started to focus on things that I was good at. And ironically, I became a very successful entrepreneur by the time I was 19 years old. And I remember being at this convention. This is the story of you and I, when we feel lack or we don't know where to begin. And I'm at this entrepreneur convention. There's 4,000 people. And the keynote speaker got to the end and she looked at the group and she said, I don't want to hear anybody talk. I want to hear my pin drop on the stage. I have a question and I want you to write for 2 minutes before we end. And her question was, What are you sick and tired of being sick and tired